Oh, just serene, sophisticated, just like this Hat Chat podcast. Hello and welcome. Episode 54. I am Chris Trott.
Oh, hi, Chris Trott. My name's Ross Hornby.
Great.
And hello, listener. My name's Alex Smith. We hope we find you serene this afternoon, evening, morning, or midday, depending on when you want to listen or watch.
Serene, yes. I hope they're all serene as well. Music was very serene. Who was that by, Trump?
That was by Samarchism. Samarchism. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong.
Like a chasm, like chasm. Chism?
Samarchism.
Samarchism. It's an R in there.
Samarchism.
Samarchism.
Thanks, Samarchism. It's very
there's a
calm, serene.
There's a lot more to that track, so make sure you stay tuned to the end for the full version. I just had to take a snippet out of it, of course. But anyway,
I might turn off, mate. I might turn off.
Well, you're in it, Ross. You kind of need to be here for the whole thing.
Oh, I am.
Ideally.
You're right. You're absolutely right about that.
So
I'll stick around then.
Where has this Hat Chat been? It's been a little bit.
It's been a couple of weeks on and off. You know how it is. We have external work, which is how we like to call it, which is basically us making Minecraft trailers for the official people at Mojang and Microsoft. And that takes up a lot more time than we used to take up, that's for sure. Yes. We take it seriously. We take it seriously. And, you know, they have requests and things need to be done. So, yeah.
I mean, it's a paying job. You gotta make the client happy. So that's what we got to do. And also, they actually do really well nowadays. I didn't realize recently they're actually sending us feedback with like, here's all the places it's been sent to. And the most recent one that we've done, which is the Ben 10. I hope you're a big fan. Ben 10 pack has just really exploded on YouTube and Twitter and all that. So, and we did the Japanese version.
How do you define explode?
Well, in like the day of it being released, it's at 500,000 views, coming upwards to 1 million. And that's just
amazing.
The Minecraft YouTube channel. They also put it on the Cartoon Network channel and the Japanese Minecraft channel. I mean, I had to do so many versions. You wouldn't believe
the versions you had to
make. So that's part of the job. Yeah. Anyway, we're still not done with those. We still have one more to do. But the bulk of it, we had two kind of at the same time. There's still another one going right now. So, and
if you listen to these periodically, it's also interrupted stuff for our streaming as well. So if people do watch this streaming, we apologize, but hopefully we'll get back on track soon and that stuff is done. But that's amazing. I didn't realize it was 500,000 views. That's impressive.
It's more now.
And if we could get those kind of views, maybe on non-Minecraft based content, that'd be good.
Wouldn't that be something?
Figure out a way to
all we have to do
that.
Is develop our own pack for Minecraft Windows edition, develop it with a really strong franchise and IP, and then release it on the official Minecraft channel. That's how we get those views.
Three simple steps to success.
Very simple.
I didn't know this was a self-help podcast.
Easy. Anyone can do it.
There.
Anyone. But yeah, it was good. Also, fun fact, it's probably not that fun actually. It's for, Hat Films veterans. Those that worked on the Ben 10 pack, two of them that are leading the whole pack, worked on an epic hat venture. That's where they are now.
That's right.
Yes.
Isn't that special?
It's a highly incestuous situation. But yeah, no, it's amazing. It is really cool. It's really cool to talk to people again. Like later on, they're like, "Oh yeah, we did this, we did that," and we're like, "Oh, cool. Yeah, that was a really good bit."
Yeah. So they did actually get something out of it, and all that work did actually go towards some form of progress for them, which is great. Yeah, it's super interesting to see like how people have kind of carved a job out of, making a stupid
building
map for us. Yeah, building in Minecraft.
This is an amazing thing. Like when you think that, why would you? Who's getting paid for building in Minecraft? But there's whole teams that do this stuff, and they do a really good job. And it should be a job. It's it's worthy of it. The stuff they've created. So if you have checked out any of those packs, or you want to, there's loads to it. It's very interesting. Very big scale projects.
Indeed. So, talking of big scale projects, when are the documents for the aliens getting released? Because that's
Yeah, that's a good point. They're supposed to be this month, right?
I've been waiting with bated breath.
You've been following it.
June 9th, I think.
June 9th.
Today is June 4th, if you're wondering.
Okay.
And yeah, no, apparently, I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, there's been stuff released in the past. You have no idea what, like, if anything is going to be of interest. You know, it might just be another couple more. I mean, there might not even be any more like footage or anything like that. You know, they might just release a statement saying like, it happened on the 1st of so-and-so, some guy saw a blurry shape in the sky. You know, like, you got to be, I'm interested but skeptical that anything. Also, the other thing is I've watched a lot of those UFO documentaries now, and let me tell you, it's one of those things. It's a bit like sort of Channel 5 documentaries where you have to dodge just the wackos and the ones that are like sort of like not even that they're a bit like crazy or something, but they also just don't seem to have a level of skepticism which is healthy a lot of the time. You know, like I don't think it's a documentary like a fact-finding documentary unless there's a level of skepticism. And so, you know, some of the really popular ones on Netflix, it's all very like, yeah, everybody here believes it. You know, like there's not really like any like decent voices that are like, well, hold on, what about this? And like, what about this? And like a lot of the people in it, I need to get the specific name of the documentary up, but it's one of the most popular ones recently that was released on Netflix. There's another one on like the History Channel, which is like a 6-part or something. I don't know.
Is that with that Lazar guy?
The same. So the Bob Lazar's one thing. Bob Lazar's a slightly different one. There's another guy, I can't remember the name of him, but he's got this sort of mustache like this sort of thing. But there's a couple of people. There's another guy. There's a senator who always pops up. But basically, after you've seen a few of them, you start seeing the same characters appearing in lots of different media about UFOs, if you know what I mean? So it's like, oh, I know that guy. He's in that thing. And there's like, oh, and this guy's a guy that was on a boat that saw some stuff. Yeah, you know, like it doesn't really lend additional credence to it when there are just multiple different documentaries and multiple different interviews with the same people, if you know what I mean.
I see what you're trying to get at here, Smith. This is an audition, isn't it? So if you would like to, now's your chance.
Now's your chance. You could be that
hello. Guy. I'm highly skeptical but excited for what might be out there.
Hire him. He needs it.
That's all he has to say about that. He's just skeptical but excited. I think everyone's excited to see what they're talking about, I guess.
I do wish that there were more, you know, more people and more, you know, people that I feel like I trust a bit more, because there's a lot of like, there's a lot of Americans. All right, there's a lot of Americans who drive big trucks.
All right, which celebrity has to say they believe? Which celebrity has to say believe that you would be like, okay, so if Attenborough gets on board on that documentary, would you be like,
of course, okay, that is
if they gave a good and reasonable account of it. I think part of the problem is that a lot of people believe without any kind of doubt in their own hypothesis, which isn't really scientific. You know, like that's not like not saying that they shouldn't, and not saying that things are real that they're seeing and all these sort of stuff, but a person will see something and then they will just be like, right, that's it, the whole world needs to know that I saw this thing. And it's like, well, that's not particularly scientific to just be like, I've seen it and it's true. You know, like why aren't they more skeptical? You know, like why? I don't think it's good to have this. I hate to break this to you, Smith, around it too. Yeah,
but there's a lot of things that people see and make assumptions of, and therefore they become fact. And I'm pretty sure that is just a common thing nowadays. Fact checking is non-existent.
Sorry, what has happened to Ross? For a start,
just squeezed.
Why is he all squeezed?
I don't know.
What happened?
I don't know why it's my camera. So for anyone listening, my camera just squeezed my head. So I've now got like a very long head. I don't know why that's happened. I don't know if there's a button I can press to get out of long head mode. I don't want to be in long head mode anymore.
It's really good, actually. I think we should keep it.
This is it. What are they called? Cone heads.
Cone heads. Yeah, that was with Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's happened. How did this happen? Is there a button for it?
Has your camera like defaulted, changed your 2 to 4, 3 or something like that? Or
no, it's gone. It's definitely not in my set. Oh, he's gone. Ross is gone. Oh, look at that nice still.
It's your Elgato.
Oh, let's make the most of that.
It's your Elgato, I think. Because a minute ago your Elgato symbol came up again. What are you up to over there?
He's not here. Ross? He's not here. He's been abducted. Perfect.
There you go.
Nailed it.
Normal head.
Fixed.
Or is it wide head? That looks wide head to me now.
Yeah, I prefer.
So now you
narrow head.
Yeah, I prefer the other one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know how I did it
too
anyway.
much on visuals on a podcast. I know.
Well, that could be an alien. That could be an alien interrupting
comments.
our podcast.
It could be. They're trying to stop us. All right, it's doing it again. Oh God, they're hacking us.
Oh God, the aliens!
I reckon we can make him thinner.
There we go. It's a nice visual gag.
It's great.
It's a good visual gag for the podcast. Yeah.
And you should really check out our YouTube channel.
Let's see. I'm not like this is it. This is going to be the big reveal. I'm not sure that if there were aliens, necessarily it would be our governments revealing them. If you know what I mean. I feel like it'd be more like
I agree. It'd be like the sign in Signs when there's a kid's birthday party and he walks past a hedge. Do you imagine that's the way it would happen?
That.
There it is. Oh,
so in Signs, basically, there's a really good, and it was a really good scene at the time. I thought it was actually quite an interesting moment. Obviously, the alien looks kind of a bit stupid, but basically, it's a kids' party. It's a handy-cam footage, so that's when you immediately know it's kind of real, and it's like, oh wow, this is relatable. I've seen terrible handy-cam footage before, but then bam, suddenly all these kids are all like excited because they can hear some weird noise and like, what's over there? What's over there? Camera looks up, zooms in. Suddenly, leg crosses the scene, and this alien looks at the camera. And they're like, oh my God, crazy. And then it spreads around the world. That is how I imagine it would happen rather than some grainy black and white footage from an aircraft. Of a Tic Tac, exactly, which is impressive and interesting. I would love to know what those things are. But, the likelihood is that it is probably something also military based, which is, I'd still like to know about. I still want to know what those things are.
If it's military based, I'm even more terrified, I'll be honest.
So that's it. Exactly.
There are, people out there that have technology that allows ships to move without resistance at all and could just dunk in the water in and out at will. That's pretty intense. Yeah, that was a crazy plastic bag floating in the wind.
Sorry if you can hear the ambulance helicopter landing, by the way. Something that I think is a really interesting argument is when you look at the vastness of space, and it is massive.
It's pretty big, isn't it? Yeah,
a little bit.
It's up there.
And the distance between things, it's basically if another intelligent species existed, they must be so far away that we can't detect them, and therefore they're so far away that the physical limitations of light speed, as in the fastest an object can move based on physical laws, is the speed, less than the speed of light. The distances they'd have to travel would be impossible if they obeyed the laws of physics, essentially. So that's the time it would take to traverse that distance would be far too long for most things. But if they could somehow break the laws of physics, or perhaps they could break the light speed barrier or any of those sort of things. I mean, wormholes, is another thing. That would mean that, that would mean that they could possibly have a different access to physics or a different way of interpreting space-time, or like all sorts of other crazy reasonings behind like how they could be here, and we can't understand how they could be here, if you know what I mean. So, but for a species for some civilization, some alien, whatever the hell you want to call it, to be at that level, they're basically interdimensional at that point anyway. So the
Kardashev scale is what you're talking about, and the type 2 civilizations, I believe, at that point where they are harnessing essentially Dyson spheres around the sun in order to be at that solar system / galactic scale. They need to be able to harness so much energy. Therefore, they have already acquired their own solar system and can potentially move it. So, in order for them to be able to, like you say, traverse the vast distances of our own Milky Way galaxy, they would be very visible and proactive in our own solar system. We'd be aware of it.
That whatever it is something that it came from Earth potentially. If this thing is
maybe,
there's a being of any kind.
There could be a whole other species living on the planet Earth that we aren't even aware of. They could be living at the bottom of the sea. We wouldn't necessarily be aware of them. There could be all sorts of other reasons we wouldn't be able to detect them. Maybe they're gases or something. There is just there's so many different reasons for why it could be. But it's going to be interesting. I just doubt that any of those.
I don't think, yeah.
Answered.
Because if they were aliens, do you think the government would actually tell people? Because surely that would scare people.
That's the thing.
They wouldn't want to cause a panic for unnecessary reasons. So anything they do know and will tell is probably going to be fairly mundane.
Yeah. So there is actually been mounting pressure from society for them to release these documents. So I don't think they would have otherwise. However, it also doesn't mean that they're going to release everything, like you say. I think the really like interesting stuff that could be potentially like disruptive on a global scale, then they're going to hold that back. They'll probably release something as like an acknowledgement that yes, the footage is real and authentic, and here's a bit more. And I think that's going to be the end of it, to be honest. So
I think, well, I mean, you say that there's a growing pressure from the public to release these things, and that kind of wording gets, you know, thrown around quite a lot. Like, you know, when we were,
I saw it on BBC News, so I believed it.
When we talk about European politics, and
mounting
we say,
pressure.
Pressure is mounting in Brussels for so and so. A lot of the time, that's just media and newspapers inventing the concept of people being.
We had 50 emails, complaints.
The reality is that it's about a cultural shift, and if there is a government withholding information about something from a public, it's just about the time it takes for that government and that country to shift, and this could be decades, from an opinion about, you know, say isolationism or worry, or you know, the Cold War was very much, you know, paranoia and things like that was used, or rather felt in America, because obviously they could have been nuked at any time by Russia and vice versa, like that. These are all cultural feelings that are pervasive through countries. And I think eventually, if we get to the point where people are like, well, what the fuck is going on? So many people, so many of my friends, so many people are reporting or videoing on their phones these things going on. What is happening? And that's when that cultural shift, and then that echoes through government, because government is made up of people that are from that country, right? So the people within government start talking about it, and then the people who are making decisions are like, no, you're right, yeah, I was talking to my so-and-so the other week or whatever, and yeah, let's start focusing on this. And that's really where pressure and change and changes in government like policy, because yeah, once upon a time they might have thought, oh, we don't want to worry people, we don't want to panic people about the fact that we've got a nuclear bomb, but then eventually, you know, they had to start handling it in a different way. But I mean, it's just long languid periods of time that we have to just spend waiting for people to be okay,
be ready with
the
it,
idea or something. I mean, it's slow, and I guess that's where the friction between sort of conservatism and progressivism comes as well, you know, like, do we really want to know that we're not alone yet? Or like, I mean, that's where the idea of a panic comes from, I suppose.
I guess, you know,
the fact we have a shit ton of organized religions, and if we go and tell them that we've got millions of intergalactic civilizations out there, it's really going to make like organized religion, I think, it's going to have to ask some questions. I mean, I was watching a thing last night about black holes, about how there's this giant black holes on the edge of our like universe, essentially. So we're in a solar system which is in a galaxy, and then there are millions or billions of galaxies as well, right? And then there's outside of that, there's a fucking gigantic couple of black holes that essentially suck matter in from creation, turn that matter into randomness, and then emit it through radiation. It's just
what did you watch?
It's called
Netflix, right?
I tweeted about it. Yeah, it's a documentary. It's quite hard to get your head around, but really kind of
is that
crazy.
A working theory? I assume there is no evidence.
No, it's been proven because they used a combination of radio telescopes all around the globe. It's called black holes, the edge of all.
They fired Hawking out there, didn't they?
Hawk.
Checking it out.
But Stephen Hawking's in it, and it's about. They had a hypothesis, and this goes back to a little bit about the alien stuff earlier. They had a hypothesis about how they think or where these black holes might be and how they might work, but they had to measure it with something, and the only thing they had was they coordinated. It took like 20 years to set up all of these radio telescopes all around the globe to create one sort of Death Star style, you know, with the laser and the Death Star where it like all comes together, and sort of like that. They all fired it at this direction at the same time and measured, I think, either radiation. I think they measured a lot of different things, but they measured primarily, I think it's photons or something, or there's some way of measuring gravitational waves or something. Sorry, you will have to watch it. I couldn't get it all. I couldn't become an astrophysicist in one night.
That's fair.
But they essentially measured information coming back off of that position. Sorry.
And now you know too much.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to get you. You're going to have to mount up.
But yeah, they basically measured it, then they correlated it with what they thought, and then they generated images. And remember, there was that image of that black hole that came out maybe last year, the year before, and everyone's like the first image of a black hole.
Right. Yes, I think I did see that.
That was a result of basically all the data they gathered. They ran a ton of models on this data because it's a radio telescope, not an optical telescope, and then generated an image based on that data, which is accurate. But anyway, yeah, I mean, once you really start looking into this stuff and looking into the fact that there are these literally, like, one of them has the mass, the billion times the mass of our sun. That's the size.
Scale is just, we can't comprehend it.
You cannot comprehend it at all. You cannot comprehend it. This is the problem. But there's just this thing that's just sucking all of everything that exists on the like, in our universe. Like, basically,
there's a good mum joke in here.
Huh?
There's a really good mum joke in this. To summarize, there's a great thing out there sucking everything.
Sucking everything. But it is just mad, and
it is.
Yeah, it's unbelievably hard to fathom, but it really doesn't. Yeah,
it's mental.
Yeah. Anyway, it is. Just
so you wouldn't go to a black hole, is what you're saying? Don't book a hole.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Hole.
No,
it'll suck you in, and you'll never get out of it.
As much as you're gonna get those weird TripAdvisor notifications, like, come on, the black hole, everyone's rating it up. No, don't take that.
Is it on the ban list? I don't think so. Let's go there.
5 stars. I went in and never came out. I'm still in here, and even now.
That's how good it is. I couldn't leave.
Stay forever. Yeah.
Yeah, space be crazy.
They do be crazy.
I like to keep up to date on it. You know, on all the launches and all the missions, particularly SpaceX, because they are actually making waves and changing the pace of everything. Really, they're just doing some crazy stuff. I love it. But anyway, it's not funny though. So let's move on to something.
It's not. Yeah, I guess it's not that funny.
The explosions are pretty lol, but apart from that, that's about it.
Are they lol though? I mean, it's so expensive.
Lol.
I mean, I know that they're like they prepare for these things and whatever, and you know they've got crazy budgets. But seeing that explosion must cut deep for anyone in there. It's just like, oh, for God's sake.
The data's good. They're happy to throw them away.
Would you guys go up into orbit if given the opportunity?
Would you go on Virgin Galactic? Is what you're asking. Yeah.
Yeah, early in the tests or kind of like late stage where it's like they've done enough. There's thousands of these. I'll have a go.
Okay, let's say there has been 50 successful launches before, which I think is actually more than what I don't know how many Virgin Galactic or SpaceX are actually planning on doing.
They've done 2, I think, Virgin Galactic.
Yeah, exactly. It feels like they won't get to 50 before they start inviting people on, I think. But I don't know. But, you know, how many would it take? 50 successful trips before you go up? It's basically what's your life worth, isn't it?
I guess so. It depends, because obviously you got to imagine it's also going to be extremely expensive up to the point where, like, another 40 years.
If someone offers it, I would take it.
I think it would be nice to try. If you've seen that there's 50 gone up, you've got a bit of a level of confidence there that you're like, well, yeah, I'll give it a try.
50 is pretty low though. Unlike,
it is quite low. But it's also an exhilarating, like, new experience. Just like no one else. 50 other. I don't know how many people you get on. How many people can you get on those ships? Like 10?
4, isn't it? In
4.
Crew Dragon, yeah, of course.
Crew Dragon.
But Virgin Galactic is very different, where it basically goes into the outer atmosphere and then comes back again. That's what Virgin Galactic does. However,
it's amazing. You've seen it. It uses like it's really
crazy. It's like vertical takeoff.
Yeah, they fly up into the air with this like plane, and then the plane just drops this rocket essentially that just ignites and just blasts off up into the sky. It's pretty cool.
I love it.
Your cruise missile that you're riding.
It's terrifying, but it would be exhilarating, like Ross says. Like, imagine seeing Earth from like that perspective. It would change everything, I think. Yeah,
it would.
Nuts.
I think it would.
Yeah, I think it would change your perspective on reality almost, as in, like, not many people get to see the world from that perspective.
Yeah.
So I think you're kind of like, everything would suddenly become a bit more
trivial.
Wow, this isn't just an image on a TV. This is real. The scope of it's massive.
You know what? Yeah. I still think there would be a flat earther would be able to go into one of those ships and come up with something that's like, they've got really high definition, like eye tracking screens that make me see this planet for what it is. This is all a shill.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like surely you can't deny it once you're at that stage where you're like, okay, I'm actually up here now. I'm looking down at this. You could never just go, well, it's flat at that point when you're literally looking at it. Could you? I guess you could if you were stubborn enough.
Well, it depends on their reasons, doesn't it, really?
Yeah.
It depends on their reasons for why they believe it. Like, people will tell you they believe something for one reason, but the reality is it's something else entirely. You know, it might be making up for an insecurity or something somewhere along the line. I guess
or gambler's fallacy. They're too deep.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's
I guess so.
Cost fallacy.
Yeah, sunken cost. That's the better one.
It's for sure. Like, they might just be like, nah, I still don't believe it. Whatever. You've just lied to me, like you say. Or they might go, yeah, no, you're right. You've showed me evidence. But a lot of the time, I think these people with these crazy views, you just show them evidence and it won't change anything. They're that deep.
I don't know. It depends if there's something in on it. Like if they've got money involved or like they're making money from their crazy theories. Like that guy who made up the vaccines and autism thing where he just made that bullshit up. And then the UK literally took away his medical license and he just went to America and spread that bullshit there and they lapped it all up.
Why was very interesting. Why is he pushing it? Is it for money?
So yeah, so basically, I think he had a stake in like an opposing jab. I think it was. So basically, he was saying a certain jab was causing it. His was fine. Right. So he's basically just making bank off of that.
I see.
And then I think he ended up with Elle Macpherson, the model. Do you remember the model?
Yeah.
So I think she was in Friends. Yeah, he's with her, and he's just enjoying his life, lying to millions of people, and pretty much ruining.
Who this is?
I'll find his name because I watched it. It was just on TV yesterday. Vaccine autism liar. That's what I'm googling there.
What's up with Alex
Andrew
Smith?
Wakefield.
Oh.
Andrew Wakefield's the guy. If you believe this guy, please research him because it's not true, and he faked his research, and is now making millions upon millions because of it. So it's like one of those pastors, or sorry, there's what they call the guys who preach.
When you say Elle Macpherson, you mean they're in a relationship?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I don't know if he is right now, but he was at the time they made this documentary. And this guy was just like, "This is insane. This is just insane. This guy's living the life, multi-million contracts, and he's just with a supermodel, and is really just damaging the vaccine industry with his lies." So research him, and just research any of that stuff whenever you're worried about something, because I think half the time when you think something's like a crazy conspiracy, there is something behind it that's going to clear things up for you. Because just Google that guy's name and you get this list of things where he was barred from the UK and just went to the US, and they just said, yeah, sure, I believe this guy.
What a lad, though, eh? What a lad.
What a lad, eh? What a lad.
Lad.
That's it's nuts, because now like so many people don't trust vaccines because they think they're going to cause some other illnesses, and it's just extremely damaging. We all had a vaccine recently.
We did.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about that a bit. So,
yeah,
funny story about that. We actually had, me and Smith. Ross is a little younger, so he has to wait a bit. He had to wait a bit longer. We had our confirmation come through that we could book our vaccine. We had it like down for the 2nd of June, but because of the race to get one, there is none in our local area. It's 40 miles away, which for someone in the UK, that's a long way. Appreciate relativity. So yeah, we were like, yeah, let's go for it. No worries. So I just happened to be a just shopping center kind of thing, a park essentially, getting dog food. Just grabbing some dog food, going to B&Q, getting some paint, normal stuff. And I went to Boots. Sure. I was like, I need antihistamines. And then I noticed that there was a COVID vaccination center at the back of Boots, and it was empty.
The alleyway around the back, by the way. Just
yeah. There's a guy in like a long trench coat
next to the bins.
Yeah, but again, it's quiet.
Yeah, they were like, there was a guy like who was like rummaging through the skips.
Yeah,
and he jumped out, but he still had the doctor's coat on.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and he has some needles in his hands.
He was clearly like impatient, waiting for someone to come up and ask. So I just took a chance and said, "It's a guy with an iPad, like really like quiet, unassuming kind of guy." He was like, "Oh, hello, all right, how can I help?" And I was like, "I know this is crazy, but if there's any like bookings or stuff that have been cancelled or anything being thrown away, are there any jabs going like right now?" And he was like, oh, let me go check. I think we do, yeah. And he checked. He was like, yeah, we can get you done now. And I was like, oh, can you get my girlfriend done now? I know she's 27. She's not even close to like the 30s or 32s, I think it was at the time. He was like, yeah, get you both in. Done, jabbed, boom, out of there.
Sorted.
AstraZeneca, by the way, is the one that we got. Which obviously isn't the recommended one for under 40s. However, the risk is so small, etc., etc. That I got it done. I was like, yes, get me done now. And I got vaccinated. So, yeah, there is no wrong vaccine. I just want to point that out. There is absolutely no wrong vaccine. Get whatever you can get. It doesn't matter.
Well, this is the thing, because when they spoke to us at the beginning, they were just like, well, okay, so 4 people out of 1 million did suffer from blood clots, etc. Obviously, there's various other illnesses they could have had that cause these things, but are you prepared to take that risk? It's like, well, yeah. I mean, we consume all sorts of weird food and processed stuff every day that could cause a problem. 4 in 1 million feels like quite the lottery. If I won that one,
the odds of women getting blood clots from their various period medication is so much higher than the AstraZeneca jab, and they have to take that stuff monthly. So I think put it in perspective a little bit, it's fine. Anyway, how do we all feel?
I was fine up to a point where I just felt suddenly just absolutely drained. I had the worst shivers.
Ross had a really bad time.
But the thing is, I almost didn't want to say this to him because I know that some people are worried they're going to get sick or whatever, or it was going to cause problems. But the day after that, I was better than I was just absolutely fine. It went away like that. But for 24 hours, I just felt under the weather. Just felt really drained. I didn't really want to get up off the sofa. I was like, ugh. But after that, absolutely fine. So yeah. It wasn't a long-lasting effect. And you guys Smith seemed to be absolutely fine.
I feel like we were a traffic light system. Ross was red. I was amber, going on green, and Smith just didn't feel anything. Just a bit tired, I guess. Right?
I just got a sore arm from the injection site.
Yeah, a little bit sore.
It happens because you're injecting into a muscle.
Yeah, that's normal, yeah.
But no, I was absolutely fine, actually. That was really surprising. So I got the placebo, I guess. Just saline for me.
Just a bit of air.
Perfect.
Just a little air bubble in there.
There's just air in yours. Can you put some... Oh, she's done it.
Oh, you wanted a vaccine. You said just jab you. So I did.
You just like the feeling.
What's that going to do?
Some people just like the feeling. Yeah, it was...
what does that do, though?
I was luckily very fine. We'll see how I get on with the second one.
Yeah.
But yeah, all good.
Yeah.
Can you actually die from just pure air being injected into your arm?
I think you can. Yes.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Highly not recommended.
It can cause aneurysms because basically, all sorts of reasons.
It's essentially a clot. It's a blockage. What you're doing.
You've just created a little pocket of air that's going to cause your heart to struggle.
Really
Will it kill you? Is it death? Is it 100% don't have air in your bloodstream?
Yeah,
because I just
don't. Yeah, really bad.
Okay.
But the chance of that happening, you have to inject it. You'd have to inject air into your veins.
Yeah.
Oh, embolism. Sorry, not
embolism. Embolism. Right. Well, I mean, don't do that.
Yeah,
doesn't sound like a good method of anything. Don't do it. But yeah, otherwise I was fine. So, and I'm glad I had it done. I'm glad it's done now. That's on to the next one in a few weeks. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm booked in.
We're
for
safe.
My next one.
Safe boys.
Yeah. Apparently, the longer you wait between, the more protection you get. But again, it doesn't really matter. It's all about...
I don't know if that's true. I'm not sure. I don't know. I wouldn't say that either way, because that would then encourage people to get the second vaccine 2 years later.
Oh no, it's not that. It's more like
the difference between
8 and 12
weeks.
Yeah. Clarified to say that is good because it's just that's how things. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah.
Also, the Earth is flat.
Yeah.
Get
on with the told.
Oh, he's come out with the Earth is flat bit.
Yeah.
I've not seen it. So
who's not seen it? True. Again,
we're gonna fire you up in a homemade rocket, Trott. How about that?
That'd be great. I'd love that.
It's gonna be made of 6 trash cans welded together, and then the top we're gonna use perspex. What do you reckon?
Safe.
Yeah, it's fine.
Very safe sounding.
And then there's a big sheet and a tarp we've connected to 4 ropes, and you've just got to throw it out the back when you're coming back down to slow you down, like a parachute. You know, like you got to time it though. So you're going to be dropping straight towards the sea if you're lucky.
Okay.
If we fire you off a beach, and then you've got
That'd
to
be
climb out onto the outside of the craft, and then unfurl like a 6x6 meter piece of tarp that's connected to the base of the rubbish bins by rope. You just throw it up and then hold on for dear life as you slow down suddenly.
Mental.
There's quite a strong chance it might get tangled. So
yeah, this might not work. This is a big risk.
I'm willing to take the risk. Yeah. Willing to prove you're wrong.
He's going to be an astronaut.
Going back to the discussion of vaccines and I guess cures, etc. I found a news article here that says Indian doctors are warning against cow dung as COVID cure. You told us about this like a couple of weeks ago. Well, the cow dung one.
Yeah.
Was it the cow dung one?
Maybe not. Maybe I've spoken about that with somebody else.
There's so many different ways people have been trying to, cure COVID or avoid getting COVID. This one I feel is fairly recent. This one's May 11th, so potentially. It says doctors in India are warning against the practice of using cow dung, and people are rubbing it all over their bodies and meeting up and just smearing themselves in cow dung and urine.
Okay. Yeah.
Because obviously,
you're not wrong.
In Hinduism, the cow is a sacred symbol of life and the earth, and for centuries Hindus have used cow dung to clean their homes and for prayer rituals, believing it has therapeutic and antiseptic properties. Now, I don't. Obviously, everyone knows when they're driving past maybe a farm, and that distinct smell. I didn't read the part where they covered their homes in it. That's an interesting angle. Most people get a joss stick out and maybe some flash bleach or something, but they're whacking some cow dung around themselves and property. I mean, doctors say this isn't a thing, so don't do this. So if you do have access or are nearby a farm, don't cover yourself in cow dung and urine. It won't save you from COVID. So that's just. I don't think you have to say these things, but apparently you really do. You have to cover all bases in 2021 because people will literally do anything.
This almost seems like we're looking at video footage now of people absolutely covered in shit.
They're in a farm. There's loads of cows and they're just rolling around.
They're lined up, and they're doing it in groups.
And okay, so now there's a scene where they're just pouring the cow's milk over their hair. Wow,
this is so stupid. Oh, why would you do this?
It's mixing with all the poop.
I don't know if this is this a religious thing or is this just literally just a wow? Might as well.
Cows are holy in India, or at least part of certain Indian religions. But it's just, sure, believe what you want to believe, but when you get to the extent of smearing shit all over you and bathing in cows, there's just no point. It doesn't make any sense.
Well,
like when it goes beyond spiritual and you're doing physical things that are just
known to be harmful.
You don't smear the crap of other animals all over you. In general, is like a natural law. Like, we're all human. Despite what you believe theologically, it's hard to refute that we are human beings who are animals which are part of an ecosystem of this planet, right? And whether or not you're spiritual or have any form of belief is outside of that. What isn't outside of that is that within that ecosystem, most animals defecate and most other animals don't necessarily roll around in that defecation. Very few specialized animals might.
Dogs.
However, dogs
and fox.
But
fox
it doesn't
common.
It doesn't improve their lives, and I don't think it would
tell
improve
that to them.
Why are they doing it? Why do dogs do it?
I don't know. Why do dogs eat horse shit?
It's for the nose smells, smelly stuff. It's the
I'm not saying we shouldn't criticize India or a certain country recommend drinking bleach. We can criticize both of them. This is the thing. Yes, drinking bleach was stupid as well. Injecting it was stupid as well. There's a line here. It's just crazy, isn't it? But then, we've probably been shown that as this is the norm. This is what's going on all over India.
I feel like
it's
that,
probably not.
It's
probably just a small group of stupid men running a stupid little cow dung.
Even that footage looked pretty staged to me. I don't know why, but they were all lined up, ready. Okay, now pour the milk. Everyone pour the milk for this shot. was just a bit too perfect. I don't know.
So obviously, I'm not looking to generalize everybody there, but what we saw there in that video footage was some people rubbing dirty cow shit all over their bodies, and
in nice symmetrical lines.
It just makes no sense. It's not necessary to do that. I just
each to their own, Alex Smith.
No, not each to their own. At some point, we need to stand up and go, "That's stupid." And I think for me, that's my line.
That's his line. Poop and milk really got to you.
You're not going to cross that one
today.
I'm glad you found it.
Was it the milk or the poop or the urine? Because there was also urine involved. They would rub that on themselves as well.
Didn't get to that
urine,
bit.
would you do one or the other? If someone said, okay, here's some cow manure and here's some cow urine, you could splash around in the urine or you could smother yourself in the manure. Make a choice as a cue.
Urine.
Okay, brilliant. The shower's over there. You get the urine shower.
I'm
Perfect.
in. Are you?
Well, I'm gonna. Well, if you're in for it, I'm gonna jump in.
You're in. I'm in.
See what the manure's like. I mean, I don't want COVID, obviously.
You're in for a treat.
That's like a billboard advert for a campaign for like pro piss swimming. Like
pro piss swimming.
No. You're in.
We're all in.
We're all in.
Oh my god.
You're in.
Did you ever piss in a public pool? Is that, sorry, just a personal question. Ever pissed in a public pool?
No, not a public one.
I've always been terrified of doing it.
Even accidentally? Even a little dribble? A little dribble? Oh, shit.
God, maybe. I certainly drank a lot of swimming pool water as a kid. I remember coming out of a swimming pool and being really bloated with how much fucking water I'd accidentally drank in a swimming pool.
Is there something to do with physics and like the equalization of pressure of being in water, equalizing your bladder and it just leaking out? Is that normal? If you don't have
I think it's more likely that when you're swimming along as a kid, you're just accidentally scooping up bits of water in your mouth and you're subconsciously swallowing it now and then. And you do it so much in an hour and a half.
Really full.
You get really full of pool water, yeah. And that's why as a kid, you'd always get really sick and ill going, like, I don't know if you guys remember, like going, so as a primary school, we used to go to a swimming pool.
Yeah.
And like half the kids would get ill every other Thursday because like,
I had a couple verrucas,
and verrucas, and it's just like
so gross.
I guess I'm happy that I can swim. I suppose that's what I got out of it.
But, essentially, you're just like gobbling up everyone's taint, though. Like, when you really think about what you're doing, regardless of whether they're openly pissing into a public pool, you do have the fact that even though everyone's got their shorts on, the shorts aren't stopping residual.
Anything.
Like
everyone's having a bath.
If anyone's a bad wiper, if we've got some bad wipers in the crowd, and we're talking about kids using these pools, that's what's going in the mouth when you're actually
don't worry, because our local pool
of many
was so full of chlorine that I don't think
anyone
came out.
How good is chlorine really?
Chlorine's very good. It's just when you have to use that much of it. Because another problem is you're drinking all that chlorine and it's fucking destroying your microbiome in your gut as well.
And you come out with just blazing red eyes.
Your eyes as well.
The eyes, you can tell the chlorine level just if you open your eyes underneath the water and you're like, you're like, God, I feel like someone just poured acid in my eyes.
Yeah. Real bad.
Yeah.
Real bad. And it gives some people asthma. It can trigger their asthma. Chlorine
makes
just
sense.
not good for you in any way, really. It's just bleach.
I had child asthma.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't be just that, I imagine.
It's got to be that.
It can cause people with asthma to have asthma reactions.
Right.
But then also, funnily enough, some ingredients in fruit squashes can also do do that. I don't know if you ever knew that.
No.
Some certain ingredients in certain fruit squashes can also trigger asthma, like
Oh.
But anyway, I mean, it's the price we pay for having a pool that we can manage and doesn't have like anything in it. But ideally, I don't think you really want to go in public swimming pools, do you?
No, it's hard to take the image out of that now. The chlorine doesn't do enough for me to think that, well, now if I accidentally just get a little of that water in my eyes, you've just got like hundreds of people's
fecal matter
bits
all up in there.
Yeah.
Well, very nice.
Pubes and teeth.
Lovely.
Very nice.
I looked up briefly during that poop talk. I mean, we can keep it on poop. We can move on from poop. I don't mind. But this was something that Murphy really enjoys. Is he loves? He doesn't love it because I don't let him do it. But he really wants to eat horse poo, and I don't know why. But there are 7 reasons here why dogs eat horse poop. Does Mochi go for the horse poop?
No, she doesn't. She avoids.
Okay.
She's actually quite. what's the word where she just avoids everything? Oh, don't want to get that on my fur and things like that.
Oh, it's just very particular, very
particular.
I don't know.
Fussy.
Prudish, fussy.
Prudish.
I don't know, not prudish.
She won't put out.
Why won't she put out? Well, okay, so she won't eat horse poop, but Murphy
She'll avoid
really
puddles.
wants to eat it.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay, so she's very delicate.
She's delicate. She'll sniff
sausage.
it.
I mean,
she'll sniff horse poo and stuff, but she'll be like,
okay,
no, that's not for me.
not for me. But she's eaten poo before, though. I swear that we've heard that she has
Her own
devoured
shit.
this.
She is, yeah.
Her own. Okay, well, that's all right then.
Of course, that's entirely different. It's like,
Everyone
I
has
know
their
what I
own
ate.
brew.
I know what I ate. I'll eat that again.
Yeah.
I also read into that. Apparently,
What
that's
are we having for dinner? Oh, same as last night.
that's really not. Apparently, for dogs, nowhere near as bad as we think it is. Like we obviously impose our own like thoughts on eating our own shit onto dogs eating their own shit, but apparently dogs' shit isn't that bad for them. For them.
Well, I guess yeah. Well, it says here that so horse poop isn't actually that bad for them. But certain dogs can smell it from really far away, so they actively try to find where that poop is coming from.
So Murphy loves it.
He loves it, and my other Archie, my lab, my parents' lab, he would devour it. Like he rushed to it and just chomp, 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 and he would just like shake his head around. He was loving it. He was just eating it actively, and it was really weird and disturbing to see because he just bolted to go grab it, and that was all he wanted. But apparently it's because it's dogs like to eat things like grass, hay, fruit and veg and stuff, and it's all kind of
There's
mulched
nutritional
into this
value
package.
in it. Yeah. Their bodies can process it, and there is nutritional value. Not to mention all the pheromones and stuff that get released in it. That stuff. They love the smells. But anyway, what are the top
they
seven?
actually like the taste of it. Well, top one is horse poop tastes good to them because of the reasons I explained.
Thumbs up.
Those factors. That's a thumbs up. Tastes good. Why
tastes
not?
Tastes
good. They do it to protect their pack. Now, I'm not really. What do they mean by this? So, instincts left over from ancestral days of being wolves and wild dogs, and this relates to the next possibility. Dogs like to eat horse poop as a way to protect their pack and younger relations.
So I can understand it with their own. So like when puppies are in a litter in their own like hideout, and they start shitting everywhere, that's bad for like health in general. So the mother would often eat all the poop to keep their den clean, essentially. And that makes sense. I don't know how that extends to make sure
then
horse
what do they do with it after? Oh, I'll go and poop. What? Hold on, they're eating the puppy's poo. Is that what you're saying?
The puppy's poop.
Right. Okay.
And I think adult dogs can process that better than puppies can. So
yeah.
I joined in obviously, and I've got to keep it clean.
Keep it clean. Number 3 here says as investigative and scavenging behavior. So I think they're just obviously naturally they discover things with their mouths, and they're just trying to see what that stinky kind of tasty thing is. So it's an investigative thing. Number 4, to replace nutrients or an enzyme deficiency. So again, I think it harks back to number 1 where there are nutrients and stuff in there that they just really love.
Enzymes, yeah.
I think the other thing I wanted to question was why is it the horses are allowed to openly shit and that's just allowed to be left there?
They're huge as well. It's insane.
Like, what kind of upper class bullshit is it that they're allowed to do that, whereas you will get a fine if you leave dog shit laying around?
Yeah.
And obviously you'll piss people off because they'll stand it. Sure, there are a lot less horses, but they give a lot bigger shits. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
It probably stems from the fact that we used to have horses in the streets a lot as a primary mode of transport. So like street sweeping probably came in as like a way of like countering that, and you pay your taxes to clean up the shit that your transport horse is using. And then it's just never changed because as horses became less popular, it was less of a problem. And because dog fouling itself is a crime, right? You're not going to get fined because your cat broke out of your garden and took a shit on the corner 3 houses down. Like that I don't think is considered a crime.
Dogs are domestic, right? And then if they're out and about, it's because you're with them. You know what I mean?
Right, okay. Yeah.
If a dog is out.
But then if your dog broke out and did a crap all over somebody's front lawn and then they found out it was you, I think you'd still probably be on the hook for it.
Yeah, likely.
Which isn't the case with cats. Is what I'm
that's what I don't know the limitations. I want to know the limitations of what you can do with a horse. Could I pull up a horse to someone's front garden, let it shit openly, or maybe onto their driveway, and then just trot away and laugh maniacally?
I think that would probably be considered a different crime. I think that would be perhaps assault.
If it was a drive-by, you'd be all right.
Or like some sort of fly tipping.
Maybe don't revel in it.
Not like doesn't require physical contact assault. It's just causing the victim to fear the application of unlawful force. So if you're there taking a crap on their front lawn with your horse, laughing at them and engaging with them, that's probably going to be somewhat bizarre.
I'll never get done for this.
Duel me! Come out here and duel me!
So yeah, I mean, absolutely, like that. Yeah, if you shouted "duel me," that is 100% assault.
Yeah.
Can you still duel? Can you do the old like glove thing?
No,
it's been outlawed. When was that outlawed?
You can propose it.
I couldn't tell you when it was outlawed.
When was dueling outlawed?
Early
in the
20th
UK?
century.
Have a guess. Have a guess.
It's like 1900s. I reckon late, maybe 1890 or something like that.
1850. Go.
I'm trying to find it.
He doesn't know. Well, while you're trying to find that, I'll just go through number 5. Number 5 here, it says to self-medicate themselves. So again, that goes back to the nutrients. It feels like they've really extended this list because that could have been like 3 in 1 there. Number 6, horse manure can look like a tasty treat. Well, that also harks back to number 1 here. This is a 3-rule thing. This is ridiculous, and it doesn't look that tasty. It's blobby. It's all like globules, and then there's straw in it. Sure, but does that look tasty?
How many times it's been ran over? Let's be honest.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. The one I saw recently did have some clean tire prints.
Does he only go for like the big blobby ones, or will he go for one that's been like compounded on the ground a million times?
It was wet. It was rainy at the time, and he went for that one. It was all kind of mulched into the kind of cobbles at the time, I believe. He was trying to get that one. He was trying to get it when it was fresh, so the dollops. He didn't grab. No, he grabbed a tiny bit before. I was like, hang on, leave it, because I don't know what this is going to do to you. But apparently, it won't do much. It says your dog is just hungry. Maybe he was
just
hungry.
Come on,
let me.
There you go.
Let me.
Yeah. Dog looks round at you like,
he's hungry.
To be honest, if I still
free horse shit.
I'm starting to think that horse shit might actually be nice at this stage of my fast. I could maybe go for it.
When you explain what that is,
I will.
Listing.
But just before we do that, the last duel in England was 1852 between 2 French political exiles, apparently. The last ever duel was 1859 in America. So these are
recorded duels, though.
You probably have some third-party duels, some off-the-cuff duels,
some backyard duels.
Yeah, that still maintain the decorum. But I've decided to fast, and I'm on day 3 of fasting. Highly recommend if you ever do this sort of thing, you do your research, of course. But I just thought I'd do it just to break some habits of caffeine addiction. There are some benefits to fasting, like metabolic disease reduction, that sort of thing. And it's not intermittent, it's full-blown. I'm water fasting. I haven't eaten in 3 days. So
oh my goodness,
I'm likely
it feels so long.
So I highly recommend you don't do this unless you know about it and have done strict research and maybe talk to your GP, that sort of thing. I didn't, because I'm an idiot. But I've done a lot of research, and I've done it before. But yeah, day 2 and day 3 suck. I will say, really suck. You're just hungry all the time.
Yeah.
And you're just eyeing up, and you're just fantasizing about things.
We had a cheeky McDonald's in front of you. Was that an upsetting experience? That was yesterday.
Yesterday in the warehouse, we broke for lunch. Big old McDonald's around me. You know what? It wasn't as bad as the smell of the coffee mug that we left in there from last time.
Oh, so this isn't even on video because it just was.
So we can explain it.
Smith, why don't you explain it? It happened to you.
There was this really gross smell in the warehouse, and we thought it was some of the bins. So we've taken the bins out now. We've thrown them away. However, from the last shoot, there were quite a lot of baked beans everywhere because I got baked beans poured all over me.
Don't know if you saw that video. You should.
Pretty well. Yep. We hoovered it all up, cleaned it all up, wiped it up, put it onto bin bags, and occasionally we were getting and then we left them from the last shoot a couple of weeks ago, basically. So we've come back, and we need to get rid of these bins. God, they do smell a bit, don't they? And there was like a bit of a waft and a bit of a, got it. What is that smell? And it sort of smelled a bit like baked beans, and we're like, God, that's just really not nice. And anyway, couple of hours went by, and we were like, yeah, no, there's smell over here, there's smell over here. And anyway, we went to McDonald's and grabbed some coffees and things. And yeah, we had some coffees and some food, blah, blah, blah. Coming up to the end of lunch, I go and grab my coffee off of the top of the table where we've all been putting our coffee cups down. I pick it up and I take a swig, and I'm like, oh, that's stone cold. And I was like, oh, like, and I don't swallow it. I'm like, oh my God, what is in my mouth? I run over, spit it out, and put it down. And I'm like, oh Jesus! And turned out the thing that smelt wasn't the beans. It was a coffee that had been left out since my birthday, I believe. So
it's like almost 3 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Before my birthday, so
3 weeks.
It was about a half a McDonald's latte that had been left there for 3 to 4 weeks at room temperature, and so there's a lot of milk content. And I just took a whole mouthful.
The way it happened was so funny because Smith was walking around with this coffee cup, being like, "Oh, I can really smell that smell now.
The coffee cup, and I was like,
God, it really stinks. We need to get rid of that bin." And then he just takes a swig, and then I saw him just spit it out into the McDonald's paper bag. So gross, but so funny at the same time.
Yeah,
it's like the thing we were complaining about this whole shoot was that smell, and Smith drank
that smell. Yeah, really went into the whole fruit, as they call it.
So funny. Oh, Craig was beside himself.
Craig was loving it.
Craig was loving it. You know when you got Craig when he doesn't breathe that much.
Stop laughing.
It's very quiet, but you hear squeaks out of him. That's when he got Craig. He got him good.
When he can't stand up, he goes from like nothing to I can't stand up, like laughing. Yeah,
there is that. Yeah. And unfortunately, we weren't filming, so unfortunately, this is all you get to hear about it because it was in between shoots.
So we were setting up
for
the
cameras rolling.
One.
We were setting for something else. So it was just a fluke, funny moment that all got.
You can imagine that in your mind's eye.
That was worse than eating a slug, definitely. The slug was unpleasant. This was like, I don't want
even
that.
Sour cream? Remember the sour cream? From
sour cream. That was like, those were like predictable tastes. Like, I know what bad cream tastes like.
What was in that latte to make it so smelly, though?
It was just gone off milk, man, for like 3 weeks.
I tell you what, it tasted a bit like meat.
It shouldn't taste like that.
A bit beefy. Like, honestly.
It was really dense, that smell.
A bit of
beefy.
It was so bad. No. Holy crap. You know what? I think that's a good way to end it, to be honest. We are at the hour mark. We'll leave you with that wonderful imagery of Smith downing a 3-week-old coffee.
I think it's a lesson to everyone. Either throw away your trash, which is what we should have done in the first place, or check your drinks before you glug them down immediately.
Guzzle them like a hungry little baby lamb.
Finished. Top this off.
Holy shit. Oh my God. Hey, you know what? This has been some great entertainment, and it wouldn't actually exist, I'd say, without our Patreon supporters. So thank you, Patreon. Patreon.com/hatfilms. You're keeping us going, Hat Chat. Every time we think, we should really do a Hat Chat, it's like, we need to do it for them. We need to do it for them. Yep. So thank you very much.
We're not doing it for our sponsors.
Hell no, because we don't have any.
They are our sponsors.
Also, huge thanks to everyone that has submitted a Fingal recently. You can also submit one to our email address, hatchat@hat-films.com. And don't forget, there is the visual element. You missed out on people smearing themselves in mud and milk.
I know.
So head to
an oblong version of me as well. That was in there as well.
I don't have no problem with.
So this will be
mud. It was cow shit, Trott. That wasn't mud.
Right.
It was cow poo.
It was cow shit and piss.
It was cow shit.
All cow products.
Yeah, all those visuals along with us are on our YouTube channel. Hat Films. Hat Chat.
It's Hat Chat podcast.
Oh, my brain is dead.
I know,
day 3 of fasting.
It's the lack of nutrients. It's fine. It's all the water fasting. But Hat Chat podcast, go on YouTube and check that out as well.
Indeed. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. Please enjoy the extra long version of the Fingal by the wonderful Sam Archism, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks, hopefully. Bye.
Indeed.
Bye.
Ta-ra.